Welcome to our channel. Today we are going to take a look at the anime series Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation Series 2. If you're ready, let's begin. At the beginning of the anime, we see a horse-drawn carriage with a few people gambling in the carriage's trunk. A young man named Greyrat Rudeus is sitting here, sighing constantly, while two girls watch him and ask what his problem is. Rudeus says he's looking for his mother. They arrive at a snowy city and get off the carriage. Rudeus goes to an inn, rents a room, and surprises the innkeeper by paying him a lot of money as payment. After going to his room, he looks at a lock of hair in his hand and remembers Eris. However, he convinces himself not to waver from his decision, gathers his thoughts, and goes to an adventurers club, expressing his desire to disband his party. While people gossip about whether his party has disbanded or not, Rudeus asks for an adventure job, but the employer explains that it's too dangerous to handle alone. At that moment, a woman from the carriage he saw earlier wants to help him and invites him to join her group at their table. Rudeus reveals that he is a wizard and joins the party. The next morning, they set out on the journey together. We learn that the brown-haired woman's name is Suzanne, and we also meet Timothy, Mimir, Patrice, and Sarah. Sarah tells Rudeus that she doesn't want him here, and Suzanne advises him not to be rude. During the night, they set up camp and discuss their tactics. After encountering a group of bears, Timothy attacks them from a distance with fire spells, and Rudeus hears a sound and puts his ear to the ground. He identifies the sound as black-brown bears and runs toward them. Rudeus, in a depressed state, decides to let the bears attack, thinking, "Anyway, I'll die." But Suzanne saves him, and then everyone except him starts to fight the bears. Rudeus wonders why no one is running away, but then remembers the reason: they need to stand their ground. He faces the bears and conjures a massive fireball, throwing it at the bears. After defeating all the bears, they collect their spoils, and Suzanne thanks Rudeus. He, in turn, thanks them for giving him a chance to join and shakes their hands. Later, Rudeus becomes well known in the town after putting in great efforts, and everyone treats him kindly. We see him helping everyone in town. On his way back, he meets Sarah and is invited to the next job. At first, Rudeus hesitates, but he eventually accepts and goes with her to an underground location. With his future-seeing eye, he saves Sarah from falling, but she gets angry at him. While looking at a statue, lizard-like creatures attack them. Rudeus uses a stone spell to block their path, but the creatures climb over it. As Rudeus continues to fight, he sees that everyone has disappeared, but suddenly, his party appears to help him, though they didn't really go anywhere. Just then, another party arrives and destroys the lizard creatures. Timothy tries to introduce himself to the leader of the other party, but the leader punches him and says it's their business. Timothy remains calm and explains that there's a misunderstanding because two different caves are connected, and the ice dragons the other party hunted came here. The situation was misinterpreted, and the other party's leader apologizes and gives them a single ice dragon. They celebrate at night, and the leader of the other party, Soul, comes and admits his mistake, clearly drunk. After agreeing with Timothy, Soul looks at Rudeus and starts yelling, saying that Rudeus is always trying to make himself look good to others, and he's tired of seeing his face. Rudeus doesn't say anything, and Soul leaves. The next day, while Rudeus is sitting alone, he first encounters Soul and has another tense conversation with him. Then Suzanne and the others arrive and tell him that Mimir has died, and Sarah is missing. They can't get close to them due to the snowstorm. Rudeus sets out and uses his incredible magical power to dispel the storm. He then incapacitates the attacking rams one by one and finds Mimir's body. After finding Sarah's earring, he burns the remaining rams and is attacked by a tree. When he sees Sarah unconscious, he immediately goes to save her and takes her into a cave to heal her. Rudeus tells Sarah that Mimir has died, and she becomes upset. Later, they go back to the party, and Suzanne gets angry at Rudeus for putting himself in danger. Timothy thanks Rudeus and cries. As time passes, Rudeus and the others celebrate after completing another job. Sarah feels closer to him, and they have a conversation. Sarah suggests going shopping together the next day, and Rudeus accepts the offer but realizes that it might be a date proposal. The next day, they explore the city and shop together. When they return to the inn and have a conversation, Sarah expresses that she wants to feel safe with him and rests her head on his shoulder. Rudeus is unsure of what to do, and they go to their room together, but technical difficulties arise, and Sarah says hurtful things before leaving. Rudeus feels deeply hurt and starts drinking, losing his usual politeness. Soul shows up and provokes Rudeus again, and Rudeus starts throwing punches. Later, his emotions overwhelm him, and he starts crying, and Soul apologizes and offers him a drink. Rudeus shares stories about his past relationships while crying, and Soul takes him to a nice place. There, he meets a red-haired woman, and they start drinking and attempt to have a romantic moment, but it doesn't work out. They share the situation with Soul, who offers them more drinks. When they return home in the morning, Soul talks to Rudeus about tactics. Rudeus deceives himself, saying he doesn't really want Sarah and that he's been acting childish. Unbeknownst to him, Sarah sees and hears them. She comes over, slaps Rudeus, and throws the sword she was going to give him on the ground before leaving. Rudeus contemplates suicide with the sword, but Soul stops him and tells him to regain control and explain the situation to Sarah. Rudeus doesn't do it, and Soul offers him a job. Rudeus accepts, and here we come to the end of our chapter. If you enjoyed our content, please like and subscribe. See you in the next episode.